And welcome, everyone. This is BNC Prime News. It's Tuesday, April the 7th. I'm Fred Hickman, safe at home.
And I'm Laverne McGee here at BNC World Headquarters. Thanks for joining us. President Trump speaking at his daily White House task force briefing today. The president focusing on the impact of the coronavirus on African Americans. This comes as more cities are releasing new data breaking down the hospitalizations and deaths related to the virus.
And we're actively engaging on the problem of increased impacts. This is a real problem, and it's showing up very strongly in our data on the African American community, and we're doing everything in our power to address this challenge. It's a tremendous challenge.
We've known literally forever that diseases like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and asthma are disproportionately afflicting the minority populations, particularly the African Americans. Unfortunately, when you look at the predisposing conditions that lead to a bad outcome with coronavirus, the things that get people into ICUs, that require intubation and often lead to death, they are just those very comorbidities that are unfortunately disproportionately prevalent in the African American population. So
Black people accounted for 72% of deaths from COVID-19 complications in Chicago. Similar numbers in Louisiana, where 75% of the deaths were among African Americans. In Michigan, African Americans make up about 33% of cases statewide and 41% of deaths.
And meanwhile, we're turning our attention to the epicenter, which of course is New York City, the tri-state area there. Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York says that closing the businesses and schools and maintaining social distancing has had a serious positive effect on things, but they're not out of the woods yet. So tonight he is urging continued compliance. BNC's Ashley Liotus is hunkered down in Gotham City and has this report.
We have not turned a corner yet. Those words ringing true just after a little bit of hope was given earlier this week when the number of hospitalizations and deaths were down. But now it's followed by the biggest single-day jump in deaths that New York has seen.
The bad news is 5,489 New Yorkers have lost their lives to this virus. That is up from 4,758. That is the largest single-day increase. And we talk about numbers, but that's 731 people who we lost. Behind every one of those numbers is an individual, is a family, is a mother, is a father, is a sister, is a brother. So a lot of pain, again today, for many New Yorkers, and they're in our thoughts and prayers.
But as days go by, government officials think we may be reaching a potential plateau as the average of hospital admissions is down.
We talk about the apex, and is the apex a plateau? And right now we're projecting that we are reaching a plateau in the total number of hospitalizations, and you can see the growth and you see it starting to flatten. Again, this is a projection. It still depends on what we do, and what we do will affect those numbers.
Especially in lower income areas where the disease is more widespread.
This disease is affecting people disproportionately in lower income communities, in communities that have had more health problems historically, and in communities of color. The extent of that disparity we're still trying to fully understand, and the data will help us understand, but it will not be the final word, because again, it is preliminary and imperfect data in the middle of a crisis. But there's no question in my mind, we've already put that out publicly, we've already said there is a disparity dynamic here. It is real, it is meaningful.
Things remain relatively the same here in Manhattan. I've been staying in my neighborhood and only able to judge what I see. Now, I shot this video while exercising in Central Park on Saturday. You can see there seem to be a lot of people in the grassy area of the park, some playing music. However, they were pretty spread out. From what I can tell, most people are adhering to social distancing rules and wearing masks, but not all of them. We are in week 3 now of that stay-at-home order, and cabin fever definitely starting to set in for most people, especially as the weather finally broke here this week in New York. But government officials saying try to fight that urge to go outside unnecessarily. Reporting in New York City for the Black News Channel, I'm Ashley Liotus.
Very glad that Ashley's playing it safe. And by the way, at least to date, 3,200 people in New York have died in the city. That's more than in 9/11, counting the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, and in Pennsylvania. Tragic. Governor Cuomo says he's working with the tri-state governors in addition to New York and New Jersey and Connecticut to work on a plan to rejuvenate things once life in the new normal, I guess you could say, Laverne, resumes.